and I finally found it. Now let's see if it's worth all the trouble. Alright, let's try to open this. How do you open this thing? Oh, okay. Just tear it apart. I like these, it's kind of like a very thin tape. You can just like easily tear it. So you don't have to peel it. I'm still getting used to those things. And, ooh, what is this? Interesting. Wow, it comes with its own wet tissue. Cute. And ooh, this does look kind of premium. Question is the taste worth it? Well, we're about to find out. Thank you, God, for this meal. Itadakimasu. Oh yes. Oh, this is good. This is Ueno Park. I will bet that everyone, or almost entirely everyone, who comes to Japan as a tourist would stop by here at some point. And Ueno Park is actually huge. And it's not just the park itself that amazes me, but also some of the surroundings. Like, there is this station nearby called Ugui Sudani. It's about 20 minutes. And somewhere around there, there's like this big cemetery, which, I mean, it's hard to explain. I'll have to show you. It's a very cool place. I don't know if it's appropriate to say or not. Anyway, back to Ueno Park. As I was saying, there are lots of interesting things that you keep finding. Speaking of which, so this is as you can see, some kind of like a sculpture, and at first I didn't know like what this means. So let's see. When I look at this, I think this kanji is for like time, jikan maybe. I'm probably butchering this because I haven't been practicing Japanese in a very long time, and hopefully I'll be back to that here pretty soon, taking courses at my university. Anyways, okay, so this is I think it should be supposed to be a representation of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing, and this is like there were some people who like were kind of at a distance from the site where the explosions happened, and they basically saw the flash and the mushroom cloud, and they really didn't know what to make of it. So this, like, I think should be supposed to be a representation of like this family, like this kid looking up, like pointing at maybe the mushroom cloud, and as you can see, like their facial expressions look happy, and even that infant that the mommy's carrying, like it had like really kind of curious look about what it was, and we all know how that ended up, for how unfortunate it was for most of the people who witnessed it. But anyways, the text here, I think it roughly translates to like keep remembering or never forget or something like that. And there's also a clock here. I keep coming by here, and it's like every time it just catches me and I just have to stop here. It makes me very sad and also a little bit scared. Like, we've been friends with Japan for a very long time, and I hope things remain that way. I think there are we all know there are so many assholes in this world, so many evil people, and there are also some really nice people, and on both sides. Actually, I want to share something that happened to me like a few days ago. I was on the subway, and I wasn't sure. I was headed for Kawagoe station, and I wasn't entirely sure if this was the right train, the right subway train or not. So, well, I forgot. Maybe it was not a subway. It was just like a regular train. But anyway, so I asked this like middle-aged lady in Japanese, in my fancy Japanese that you're used to, being sarcastic here. So I was like, すみませんか、これは川越大丈夫ですか? Or something like that. Of course, that's most definitely not the right way to say it, but anyway, she understood me, and she tried to kind of look around, and she used her phone, and then she got up and she just went around the train just to try to find some kind of like a sign or something. And then a couple of other people kind of joined in. Actually, I want to go that way. Joined in the conversation, like a couple of seniors. One of them, that lady, she looked adorable. Actually, like this adorable grandma. I don't know if you guys watched Ponyo, the Ghibli movie. Yeah, so she looked like one of those old ladies, and she was. What was she telling me? Ah, she was telling me that I need to switch trains at a station called Narima or Narimas or something like that. And I was pretty sure that this is like some kind of a Japanese word, like that I learned that represents, I don't know if it's a verb or an adjective or whatnot. But anyways, it was it was an event, and then like there's this grandpa who also joined in, and it turned out he spoke really good English. I was amazed by his skill level, and we talked. So he asked me about me, what I'm doing, and everything. I told him that I'm a student and I'm researching artificial intelligence and all of that. Uh, so anyway, I thought we had like a really good conversation, and at the end of it, he extended his hand to shake my hand, and I was really kind of confused at the beginning. The reason why is that I think like in kind of like East Asian cultures, like Japan and Korea, handshaking is not like very common. I should say like bowing is common, but handshakes is not. They're not very common. So I hesitate even when someone like extends their hand to shake mine. I hesitate a little, and that's what happened. But then he made it clear that he wants to shake my hand, and I mean someone I just met. But I thought that was really interesting and sweet. I'll just let those people pass because I'm walking like a turtle. Anyway, uh, I hope that it's kind of windy today, so I don't know how good this is, but I bought a new phone, so I don't have that earthquake simulator that I had in like the previous videos. I had this camera I call earthquake simulator because it did not have what's that called, like a stabilizer. So like when you walk and record, it kind of looks very shaky. I mean, it used to look very shaky. Anyway, okay, so yeah, we were talking about that grandpa that I met. There's another interesting thing. I'm all about noticing these like really subtle things and differences like in between cultures. And when it comes to like handshaking, as I said, like in Japan and Korea, uh, I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, but my wife is Korean, so we talk about those things every now and then. I also have a Japanese friend. And yes, so handshaking is not like very common. And also, the act itself is different. For example, I think American handshaking is more firm, a lot more firm. Not just like when somebody tries to kind of not just the act itself, but also extending the hand. Like when someone from America, for example, extends their hands to shake your hand, they're like their hands like almost 90 degree. Their arms like I mean almost at a 90 degree. So you can tell there is no mistaking it. You can tell that this person is just trying to shake your hand. But in Japan or in Korea, they just like the angle is like very low, so it's almost like when that grandpa tried to shake my hands, almost as if he was like pointing at something. Another thing is I know I'm getting very detailed here. Another thing is like when someone like tries to shake your hand in America, the hand motion or the hand, I should say, what is it, like firmness is like very straight, so like this, so you can tell this person tried to shake your hand, whereas in Japan or in Korea people extend their hands like this. So again, I'm not sure, like difference, like in America like this, in Japan or Korea is like this. So it's hard to know. And then finally there is the actual handshaking action. And for that, like in Japan, it's like very soft handshaking, and also, um, like I mean, whereas in America, for example, the handshaking should be like really firm, and I heard that uh, the more firm the handshaking is, like for example in America, the more like you're showing appreciation to that person. I remember I used to know this person who was, I think he was in the, yeah, he was in the military, and like, I mean, he was a really good guy, but every time he shakes my hand, I feel like my arm's about to fall off or something like that. Because he was a big dude, big old dude. He was like, I'd say probably like almost 7 feet tall. Like he was huge. But anyway, so yeah, so again, I want to go back to the original point. Is I'm kind of like being here. Sometimes, like I feel like it's just like kind of slowly restoring my faith in humanity, because I come from a background, and like whether it's like where I grew up, where I had my education and all of that. And, I have a background in business and software engineering, so I got used to the idea that the world is just so realist. It's like everyone does whatever is best for them. Like people are generally so selfish, and uh, I don't want to sound negative here, but I somehow like always find something to complain about. So like after living in Korea for so long, uh, I really started to lose my faith in humanity, because most people were, I would say, that I come across were, all right, there's no other word to say, selfish. Like they they're selfish. I think most people that I encountered there. Whereas being here, I used to think the same. I used to think that you know that Japanese people, perhaps even when they show kindness, is like kind of pretend kindness, and I'm sure some people are like that. But when I was reflecting on what happened to me on that train and how much effort those people, um, how much effort that was taken by those people to help me out, I really, I don't think they really had to do that. Whether it's like to show as a good person or what. I mean, they don't know me. Like for example, that lady, that Japanese lady, she could have simply said that she doesn't know, or that she could have just tried to do like a quick phone search, and that would be all. As for the elderly people, they could have just ignored the whole thing and pretended that they're not even hearing it. Uh, which, again, I'm about to complain. Uh, that's generally what I have seen in Korea after living there for like, I don't know, 6 years or something like that. It's Yeah, like when there is something, like I think most people tend to pretend that it's not happening. It's like I think there is this notion that like if I pretend that I don't know what's going on, nobody can blame me for it or something like that. And by the way, all right, let's focus on Japan right now. I don't wanna sound like I'm ungrateful because I had a lot of great things, uh, happening to me in Korea, and also my wife is Korean, so I don't want to piss her off by, you know, sharing my complaints. Oh yeah. So by the way, there's like this. What is that? Oh, museum, National Museum of Nature and Science. There's like a big old well right there, like a well thing. I think it's like full size, life size. Okay. Anyway, so back to my encounter. Uh, I think generally like Japanese people, um, like they don't really step in. Like many of them, they don't really step in to help, but sometimes they do. And especially if you reach out to them, then like yeah, most people put a lot of effort. I'll share a couple of other instances. Like one of them is I bought a laptop a couple of days ago um, that I thought was going to help me like with video editing, and it's kind of like pretty much designed for that. Uh, I can share more details about it later if you guys are interested. I just don't want to sound like I'm bragging. But anyways, and I also bought like a couple of suits yesterday because I'm about to start this scholarship program, and there are like events, and I'm not a suit kind of guy. I don't know anything about suits, to be honest with you. But I thought it would be. I don't want to sound like I'm disrespecting the university by not dressing properly, and those things do matter in Japan. Like they matter a lot. So, anyways, my point is, I keep getting off the point. The point I was trying to make was that, is that in both instances, the instance when I bought the laptop and the instance when I got my suits, like the customer service was just out of this world. Like the effort that those people put, and I bet they're like either like or hourly employees or maybe even salary employees. It doesn't matter, but I just I thought that they could have like probably put a lot less effort and they would have been fine. But especially that I'm a foreigner, so I can't even complain if I want to. Although I'm pretty good at complaining, so you never know. I could have found a way. I'd be going Karen mode. Um, but what I was trying to say, they could have put a lot less effort, and I'll have nothing to complain about. But no, they just put a lot of effort into those things, into like helping me out. And like for example, the first guy, I was even out by myself. Like the suit guy, I was with my Japanese friend, but the first guy that bought the laptop. So uh, this is my seventh time in Japan, and there is a big difference this time because I'm a resident now. Technically, I'm considered a resident, not a tourist. So in Japan, they have this arrangement where you get like tax free shopping. If you like when you do shopping, you get like you don't have to pay the 10% tax if you're a tourist. And I realized that I do not qualify for this anymore. Wait, did we? Yeah, we came this way, so let's go this way. I think that's where toward the zoo, maybe Ueno Zoo. A pretty cool place, by the way. You should try to visit if you have a chance. Anyway, uh, what was I saying? Yeah, so this dude who was trying to help me with the laptop thing, he informed me that I no longer qualify for this tax-free arrangement, and I said okay. But then he told me that they have this like point card thing, which is free to sign up for, and if I signed up, I'll get 5% off. I thought, wow, this is great. The problem was I did not have Wi-Fi. I still don't have like any kind of like a phone service, which is something that I'm going. I have so many things to do. Like this is one of them. Try to get like a permanent phone service or that has data or whatever. But back then I tried to connect to like some public Wi-Fi, but the signal was so weak. And there's another problem. The registration for this point card is should be in Japanese. And everything was in Japanese. Not only the forms, but also the input that you have to put should be in Japanese. I didn't know how to do it. But that guy took like 30 minutes of his time just trying to help me out with that. And guess what? It did not work. And the reason why was because the Wi-Fi signal was so weak. Anyway, um, and then even after that, he was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna give you the card and please register later," which I have not yet, and I should. But I'm waiting. I'm hoping to try to get some help later, or maybe I'm gonna give it a shot by myself. Um, but anyways, he didn't have to do any of that. He didn't even have to tell me about this program, let alone helping me with doing that. But he did anyway, and I think what I'm trying to say in this whole, it's been like 20 minutes I've been talking about this, is there are some really good people in this world. And again, I just hope that our friendship with this beautiful country should remain strong. Uh, there have been many mistakes in the past that caused tragedies, and I'm totally aware of that. Uh, but I mean, I don't know. I don't want to insult anyone by saying like, leave the past in the past. Um, this is something that I try to tell my students too in Korea. Like, for example, when I was in Korea and I told my students, by the way, throughout the time I'm in Korea, I was in Korea, I worked as an English teacher and ESL instructor. And I also worked as a software engineer, but that was like kind of more like a freelance type of thing. Um, anyway, so when I told my students, my Korean students, they're so adorable. They're like, "Teacher, why do you want to go to Japan? Do you just not like us?" And I was like, "No, it has nothing to do with you." They're like, "Yeah, but Japan is bad." Because, there's this kind of like a big disagreement between Japanese and Korean people. It's like there were some issues in the past too, some like abuses and lots of wrongdoings. And especially on the Korean side, like a lot of people really don't like anything Japanese. So they're kind of almost like, not almost, they actually blame me for like, "Why are you going to Japan? It's bad there." I'm like, "Why do you think it's bad?" They're like, "Because they did so and so to us." I'm like, "Who did it?" And they're talking about things that happened like a very long time ago, and I would bet that everyone who committed those things is no longer alive. So I'm trying to avoid people's faces here. I don't want to get sued or something for covering somebody's face. But oh yeah, by the way, so like you're not technically, like if you film somebody's face, they can complain about it for their privacy. But I also think that if you're in a public place, as long as like you're not actually zooming in on someone's face or anything, I mean, I don't intentionally mean to record anyone here. Uh, just happened to be like right in front of me. But anyways, so yeah, back to what I was saying. Like I was telling my students that people who committed these atrocious acts are no longer alive. And some people might argue, like, yeah, but the Japanese government still does not want to. Uh, they still do not want to admit that this happened, or apologize for it or whatever. And once somebody starts talking about governments, I'm like, man, governments are governments. I used to have this coworker that worked who's from Canada, and he always says, like, man, all governments are vile, like no matter what. So I think people should distinguish between governments and people. Like if they have an issue with a government, it's different. Now I know that some people might say, well, but you should go and change your government. You should go and make your government apologize. I'm like, who the hell do you think I am? I mean, look at us. We're just normal people. We don't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys are different, but I'm talking about myself. And I would kind of maybe brag a little by saying that I'm sort of like an accomplished person, but still, like I don't have a choice in what happens in the world. I can't just go and like force, let's say, Donald Trump or the U.S. government to do or not to do something. Who cares about what I think? And again, back to this concept of realism that I learned when I was an undergrad, like a long time ago. They say that states meaning like governments, they always do whatever is best for them, and that's it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that I believe in this entirely. I'm not even saying you should, but basically the idea is that everyone in any government, they typically do what's best for their own country, and they don't really care much about other countries. I kind of disagree with that though. I think it's like, for example, I really love Japan, even though I'm not Japanese. Uh, but generally speaking, I think the idea. I'm not trying to say that everyone should kind of like be forgiving and hugging each other out or whatnot. But I've I've been in so many different countries. I talk to so many people. I talk to Koreans and Japanese or whatever. And while I don't want to contradict myself. I think there are some cultural habits that apply to most people of a certain area. But at the same time, I think that you can find nice people everywhere. Like even earlier when I was complaining about how kind of self-centered Koreans are, and I'm not saying that everyone is. And I mean, how many Koreans have I met? Even though I've lived there for 6 years, I've only met like I'm just kind of like debating with myself right now. I only met like what 1,000, 2,000, three. There are like 50 million people living in that country. So you know, I give myself the benefit and also the possibility of error, like that I could be mistaken. You know, and there's something I think a lot of people don't realize is that living in a country is a very subjective issue. So, like, there are people who just live in the exact same places and they have totally different experiences. It's like when I came to Japan the first time, like, a lot of people were complaining about, loneliness and how they can't find friends or whatever. I've never had any issues with that, finding friends. And, ironically, at the same time, like, I'm the kind of person who's generally satisfied by myself. So, like, I didn't feel the need to find any friends. I'm just, it's like right now, I'm just walking around. I'm not talking to anyone, but other than my phone. But I'm still amused. I know how to entertain myself. I feel like I'm generally emotionally independent, and maybe that's just me. I've been like this pretty much my whole life. Uh, but anyways, my point is, even despite that, I never had any problems finding friends in Japan. Whereas many people were complaining about loneliness and how it's hard for them to find friends or go out on a date or any of those things. Anyway, Ueno Zoo. Really, if you have a chance, you should totally visit this place. Uh, it has so many interesting animals, and also interesting and sometimes disturbing history, uh, just like many other places. And I think this is a perfect example of the point I was trying to make is that there are many sides to the same thing. Like there's a positive side, a negative side. Yesterday I went to some kind of like a museum of like a Buddhist heritage. And this museum specializes in like maybe I would call it like the dark side of Buddhism. So like talking about all of these like underworld deities, and there are like many depictions of scary monsters and all of that. And they even said like at the museum, I read one thing. I'm gonna try to kind of maybe like include some pictures later. I read that like it was written by the museum crew or staff that um, many people tend to see Buddhism as as this like kind of this very relaxing and peaceful concept, and they imagine Buddhas and all of that. But in reality, there's also like a dark side of things. I don't want to like kind of, I may be misquoting, but they're saying that many people do not imagine that there is this like scary side of the Buddhist religion about like about hell, about I didn't even know there was hell in certain Buddhist like denominations or whatnot. Religion is a very complex topic in Japan because many people practice Shinto and Shinto religion. I don't want to talk much about it right now because I don't know much about all of those things, so I'll just leave it aside for now. I'm happy to hear your thoughts about it. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video right here, and my next step is these days I'm pretty busy trying to kind of arrange things like renting an apartment, getting some furniture, some appliances, getting utilities turned on, and all of that. And my next video may be about that. I think some people would may want to learn about how to do these things in Japan. And I'm also exploring, like, I think the main theme of this channel is like I'm letting you know what I'm learning about Japan in general, whether it's be it language or culture or anything positive and sometimes negative. I think I I specialize in negativity. I don't know why, but I'm really good at noticing negative things. I'm just like you know like a Schopenhauer type kind of person, in some ways. But I mean, I would also try my best to share positive things. Oh, there's a very cute baby in there. I don't want to point at her like directly, but yeah, she's so cute. By the way, Japanese babies are so small and so adorable. I think they're even smaller than Korean babies. I think Korean babies are small, like smaller than American babies, but Japanese babies are so tiny, so cute. Anyway, alright, I'm gonna end up this video right here. Let me know in the comments, like, what would you like to see? What kind of topics you'd like me to cover? As I said, I should be starting like Japanese courses, formal Japanese courses in April, and I I am willing to share whatever it is that I'm learning about Japan. So meanwhile, stay tuned, stay peaceful, stay considerate as much as you can, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.